From trying to introduce an anime-like effect to boxing to the whole thing with freezing cold ice baths, here's what a pro boxer thinks of the fight scenes in Creed 3. Boxing. From the fury of Raging Bull to the triumph of Rocky, boxing movies have carved a special place in our hearts. And now, as the third installment of Creed hits theaters, you are once again transported into its gritty world, with Adonis Creed back in the ring, ready to cement his legacy. But as you watch Adonis battle it out in the ring, you can't help but wonder, how accurately do the filmmakers capture the struggles and triumphs of a boxer at the top of the sport? To answer this question, you've got Jay Opetaia, a man who knows the challenges of being a champion boxer all too well.
That's right. And the body language.
He was all at sea, trying to fight back.
As the IBF and Ring Magazine Cruiserweight World Champion, he has experienced both the highs and lows of the sport, and through his thoughts, you get a glimpse into the world of boxing that few can truly understand. Through Opetaia's words, you feel the weight of every punch, the sweat and blood that goes into every fight, and as you listen to him, you are reminded that boxing is not just a sport, it's a way of life. When it comes to training for boxing, there's no denying that it's not for the faint-hearted, and while watching Creed's training montage may make you feel inspired, it's important to remember that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Opetaia knows all too well the struggles of training for a big fight. He's been through the grueling long runs and endured the dreaded ice bath, which he'd rather skip altogether.
Sit in the ice bath, but it's very important for that body recovery, and you definitely feel the difference.
But knows is essential for body recovery. And as for pulling a plane or punching a tree, well, that's something that's reserved for the movies. And speaking of Adonis Creed, the third installment of the Creed series sees him face off against his on-screen rival Damon Anderson in a title fight at the Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. It's the ultimate showdown, the moment of truth where all the blood, sweat, and tears come down to one final bout. And while you may be sitting in the comfort of your cinema seats, you can't help but feel the tension and excitement as the two fighters give it their all in the ring. When it comes to stepping into the ring at a stadium like the Dodger Stadium, there's no denying that the adrenaline would be pumping through your veins. But as Jay Opetaia said, it's not just about being pumped up and ready for war. The slightest shortcuts during training can make all the difference when you walk out to that ring. So if you want to be a true contender, you better make sure your preparations are on point. What's more, Opetaia also couldn't help but notice the muscles on Adonis Creed and Damon Anderson. But being the experienced boxer that he is, he knows that it's not just about raw power. Sure, it can get you far, but it's the boxing ability that will ultimately take you to the top. So he's not too worried about the competition and is already sizing them up for his own potential silver screen debut. And speaking of the silver screen, several real-life professionals have already made an appearance in the Creed series, so who knows?
Creed manages to slip away.
Maybe it's only a matter of time before we see Jay Opetaia step into the spotlight and show off his skills in front of the cameras. Maybe Michael Jordan should take notes. Oh, that reminds me, Jordan's directorial debut in Creed 3 proves he's a knockout talent behind the camera as well. The movie premiered at a staggering $58.7 million box office open, breaking records in the sports movie genre. While the Creed franchise may have started off as a spin-off of the Rocky series, Jordan and his co-stars Jonathan Majors and Tessa Thompson have made it a standalone classic in its own right. In interviews on Going Deep with Donovan Bennett, all three gave you a glimpse into the movie-making process and what it was like to work on such a highly anticipated film. From the challenges of filming fight scenes to the emotional depth of the characters, it's clear that everyone involved poured their hearts and souls into this project. But in the end, it was Jordan's knockout punch that made all the difference. Jordan, who not only directed the film, but also played the lead role of Adonis Creed, called it a personal project that allowed him to contribute to the film in a whole new way.
Wheeler is doing what he can.
The Creed franchise is known not just for its intense boxing scenes, but also for its portrayal of human emotions and relationships. Actress Tessa Thompson, who plays Adonis's wife Bianca Creed, said the movies are all about relationships first and foremost, with boxing as the backdrop. The training for the film was no easy feat either, with actor Jonathan Majors, who plays the film's main antagonist, admitting that it got him into the mindset of a champion. And in keeping with tradition from the Rocky franchise, Majors also took a real punch on set, much to the delight of Jordan, who believes it adds to the film's authenticity. On top of that, Michael B. Jordan's artistic side came out swinging in his directorial debut with Creed 3. He had a vision for Adonis and Damien's fight scene that was avant-garde to say the least. He wanted to make it so silent that you could hear a pin drop, but then he remembered he was making a boxing movie, not an ASMR video. Jordan had to pull back from his overly artistic choice and make it more primal for his audience. He didn't want people to miss out on the fight because they were too busy reading subtitles. Jordan, who watched anime all his life, knows how to multitask, but not everyone can read and watch at the same time. So he went for something more impressionistic, like abstract art, but with more grunting and sweating. It's safe to say that Jordan won't be directing a silent movie anytime soon, but he did leave his mark with his unique vision. As I mentioned, Jordan's latest venture as the director of Creed 3 gave him the opportunity to flex his creative muscles, bringing something new and exciting to the franchise. Drawing from his love of anime, Jordan has incorporated a unique flair into the movie's fight scenes, determined to show audiences something they've never seen before. With the franchise already boasting a plethora of different directors and styles, Jordan was eager to make his mark, creating a scene that stands out from the rest. The result? A fight scene that will have you on the edge of your seat, with all the emotional intensity of a Dragon Ball Z episode, minus the energy beams, of course. The silent void sequence between Adonis and Damien will make you feel like you're in the ring with them. In the realm of film, there's a tried and true formula that has served filmmakers well over the years. It's the classic hero's journey, complete with trials, tribulations, and ultimately triumph. But what happens when you want to push past that? When you want to go beyond the usual and the expected? Well, if you're Michael B. Jordan, you throw out the formula entirely and dive headfirst into the realm of expressionism. With Creed 3, Jordan takes us on a journey that is both familiar and new. The realism of the previous films is still present, but now you're treated to a new level of visual metaphor and abstraction that elevates the fight scenes to something more. Jordan's use of quick cuts and slow motion give you a glimpse into the mind of Adonis Creed and the split-second decisions he makes, the parts of his opponent's body he's targeting, and you feel the rush of adrenaline as he moves through the ring. And that's all for professional boxers breaking down the Creed fight scenes.